Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Fin Reaper Outdoors. Tonight I am out in the kayak in the canal without the dog. I'm going to try to catch some sheepshead real quick. I got about an hour and a half to fish before dark. So hopefully we can see if we can get on a couple. So hang on, see if we can hook one.
There he is. There he is. Get up here to fish. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, that's a real good one. Oh, that's a nice one. Heck yeah. Get up here, fish. Get over here. Get over here. Oh, yeah. Get over here on the net side. Yay. Man, these things are stout. Oh. No! Get over here. I have got to get a longer dip net handle. Yeah, I have got to get a longer handle. Because I can't be taking chances. I was like starting to wonder. I'm like, fish, I have got this bait right where it needs to be. I don't know why you're not hitting it. It's like exactly where it's supposed to be. And I'm like, why is there not a fish hitting it? I was beginning to really wonder what was going on down there. Come on, get off of my knot.
Alright, here we go. Pretty nice sheep there. That one's probably 16, 17. Pretty good fish. I was beginning to wonder, I'm like, man, what is going on with them things? They ought to be there. And then finally, able to hook one. Alright, let's get back in here, see if we can get another one. Go away, pinfish.
Is. It's gonna be another good one. Oh, holy cow. Gosh, get up here, fish. Holy cow. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. Now, how does that happen? How does that happen? Where the sheepshead? Nope, he's there. He was just wrapped up. I was gonna say, I thought he was snagged. But he was just wrapped up. Just wrapped up. Yep. This one's not as big as the last one, but he's going to keep. So we'll take him. Let's see if we can get this out of here. Come here, fish. Oh, you just went and did it, didn't you? You just went and got the hook in the net. You did, didn't you? Yep, you did it. Now you got your teeth in the net. Boy, he was hooked good. He was not coming out of there. That hook is right up in there between the teeth. Yeah. Hopefully my knot doesn't get drug across his teeth. Bent the hell out of my hook. Gonna have to retie that one because he done broke that hook. I'm just gonna slap a board up here real quick just to get an idea where he's at. I know he's big enough, but I just want to make sure. Oh shoot, he's 14. He's got plenty of room. I'll just jab myself on the foot. Alright, sheepshead number 2 for this trip. Pretty nice one, 14 incher. I felt him take her bait. I could tell once the bait was gone. If you pay real close attention and kind of practice with it, you can actually tell the way your lure or the way your line feels when your bait's gone. You think about it. This crab basically creates a lot of resistance in the water. So when you pick that up to fill it off the bottom, you're paying attention. A lot of times you can tell that that is lighter, less resistance, so you can tell your bait's gone. So might take a little practice, but you can do it. So a lot of people fish this spot all through here. There's no secret about this spot. And I was here this morning and I watched probably 5 different boats fish this, and not a one of them caught anything. And they basically, they pull up, they put their spot lock on, and then they throw out with a Carolina rig with probably an 1/8 or 1/4 ounce sinker, and they're basically just fishing on the bottom. They're hung up constantly because they're just throwing that out there, and then that sinker is going to roll down wherever it wants to. And like I said, none of them ever catch anything. They basically throw it down there, and the pinfish get their bait, or they're hung up immediately. So that's why I like to do this method with this knocker. I can just basically keep it right where I want it most of the time, like right there. There he, oh god dang it! Pulled the hook on me. Son of a bitch. Ugh. Did that hook bend on me? That son of a bitch did, it bent. Man, I gotta get some stronger hooks. Them damn fish are just kicking that hook's ass. Look at that. That's a brand new hook too. Hadn't been hung up with it or anything. Just okay, owner. Kind of wondering about your hooks here. Gonna have to go back to Gamakatsu. I mean, look at that hook. You can't really tell, but he bent that son of a bitch. I mean, these things' jaws are for crushing clams and mussels and all that, so they can mess up a hook. So last night I was in the bait store and I was buying me some new hooks, and they didn't quite have what I wanted, but I needed some hooks, so I went ahead and bought some that were a little bit smaller than I would like. And I am definitely paying for it today. I've had 2 hooks straightened out, so definitely paying for that. There he is. Oh. I just don't think I let him take it long enough. Didn't feel like a huge fish, but it was a fish. Alright, well obviously we're back at the house. If you paid any attention to this video, you can tell I had a lot of problems with my hooks getting bent, fish getting off. This video was actually recorded back in December. It's April now, like this first week of April. I did a lot of sheepshead fishing over the winter and a lot of experimenting with my hooks. If you all follow my channel, you know I'm not some pro saltwater inshore fisherman. I'm a Midwestern bass fisherman trying to figure it out as I go along, pass some tips on to you all so you guys don't make the same mistakes I do. Sheepshead fishing, you'll hear a lot of people say, oh, well, sheepshead have small mouths, so you got to use a really small hook. Well, I started out with like number 4 circle hooks. Some people use treble hooks. Well, the biggest problem I was having, there was kind of 2 problems I was having with circle. One is the shank on the circle hooks is not very long, so I was constantly dealing with the fish's teeth, fraying my leader and whatnot. I didn't ever get broke off, but I had, just a lot of times where I had to retie because I could just tell that the leader was getting frayed because of their teeth. And also it'd be stuck in between their teeth and whatever. When you kind of understand a sheepshead mouth, they're like solid bone with some teeth, mixed in there. They eat a whole bunch of crustacean type things like crabs, the barnacles that grow on the pilings. Their mouths are like a vice.
And because of that, I was having a lot of problems with my hooks getting crushed, especially the circle hooks. They were just getting crushed and I was losing a lot of fish. That's what happened on this video. My circle hooks kept getting crushed. And it's kind of hard to see with this particular circle hook here. This is what it's supposed to look like here, and this is what it looks like. And you can't really tell, but it's bent kind of sideways. It's just all sorts of messed up. Obviously, that's not going to hold a fish. I kind of moved away from circle hooks. You know, I stayed with that small hook concept because that's what I thought, you know, everyone had always said. So I moved up to like a #1 bait holder hook. I, you know, kind of like that. It worked out pretty well for me. The rigs I was using, you know, most of the time I'm going to use for what I was doing, I'm basically fishing straight down. So I'm going to use a dropper rig. Well, I have to interrupt this video real quick to throw out the disclaimer that every time in this video I was saying dropper rig, I meant to say knocker rig. So instead of lighting me up on the comments, I figured I would just go ahead and make the correction so y'all would know. I know the difference between a dropper rig and a knocker rig. I had just got done fishing at the pier when I came back and made this other half of this video, and I'd been using this kind of modified dropper rig all day long, and I'm going to show you guys kind of what that is in another video. But I just want to make sure that you can watch this and know that every time I say dropper rig, I should be saying knocker rig. I don't like using a Carolina rig. I get hung up all the time with a Carolina rig. With a dropper rig, I can send that sinker right down to the bottom. I can feel the bottom and then just pull up an inch or so that way, or I can just set it right there. With a Carolina rig, my sinker's on the bottom and then my hook's out there flopping around doing whatever to get hung up. I had a lot more control, I feel, with this dropper rig, so that's what I went with a lot. And I wouldn't say I'm mimicking a Frisky Fins jig. I mean, these Frisky Fins jigs, they're great. They're just a little expensive. And if you're fishing for sheepshead around cover, you're going to get hung up. If you're not getting hung up, you're not going to catch any fish. Now, if I'm fishing around some pilings where I'm probably not going to get hung up as much, yeah, I'll use a Frisky Fins jig all day. They're great. One thing that I found the other day that I had kind of a problem with them was I was out fishing the jetties. I kept catching some really nice sheepshead, and I was bending the hook or breaking it off once I was trying to get the fish off. So pretty expensive jig. I mean, it's okay to use if you're going to lose some, but then if I'm losing the jig basically because I'm breaking the hook off, you know, I'm going to try something else if I can. What I spent most of the winter using was this dropper rig, and I had some pretty good luck using this. This is kind of my preferred method, especially if I'm fishing straight down. Now, if I'm drifting over the rocks or something like that, like out on the jetties, I might use a Carolina rig. But I really, really like this dropper rig. And hopefully you guys can see this here. So this is a 3/0, just regular eagle claw bait holder hook. I think it is actually, just a bait holder hook. Super cheap hook. This is just an egg sinker. I paint these with a little bit of powder paint. Then I put a bead in here. That bead's important because that bead's going to basically protect your knot. The sinker's going to be banging up and down on it the whole time. It's going to fray your knot up. So put that bead in there. That'll protect it. And this is what we end up with. It's not perfect as far as the Frisky Fins, but if I had a smaller hook on there, this would be kind of similar, you know. I make these egg sinkers myself, pack of hooks, $2.30 for 8 of them. I mean, shit, that's almost free for fishing tackle today. But what I did as far as the winter was most of the time I started and I went with this #1 eagle claw bait holder. And then I went up to like a 1/0, and I really like this 1/0 hook. In the winter, you know, they're a little bit more finessey. You need a little bit smaller hook. So this #1 did really well on that dropper rig. It's got just long enough shank to keep it out of their teeth, and then small enough to catch those smaller sheepshead. Here we are into March and April. The sheepshead are out on the jetties and the pier, and they're a lot more aggressive. So now I'm moving up to a #3, or to this 3/0 hook. It's been doing really well. And also I used the other day when I was out, I used this hook here a lot, and this hook did really well. This is a eagle claw, probably a 3 or 4/0 straight shank hook. Really tough hooks, so that way this isn't getting bent coming out of their mouths or anything, and a really long shank to keep them from biting your line off. When they're out there spawning, they're really aggressive and they just chomp that thing. Another thing that I actually did a lot the other day when I was out, I made some new rigs because I wanted to be able to fish where I could like change out real quick. So I made some rigs. I'll probably do another video just on how I made these like dropper rigs for Sheepshead. But on those, I was just kind of putting like they were kind of like a modified Pompano rig. So I had like some loop knots in there. I would just use these are some old bass hooks that I had actually. These are like number 2, probably number 3 plastic worm hooks. I would feed that loop through there and then wrap it around there, and I wouldn't tie it. And what would happen all the time is I would catch a sheepshead. As soon as I'd go to get my pliers to get the thing out of his mouth, I'd break this hook off. Then I would just grab another one real quick and put it on there. And I'm back fishing like 20, 30 seconds. What was happening with the frisky fins jig, I was constantly spinning a minute or two trying to get the hook out of the fish's mouth. Then I'd bend it or break it off and I'd have to put another one on anyway. So that worm hook, it was kind of like a disposable hook, worked pretty well. I mean, because if you're like me, you've got just, seems like hundreds of these just laying around. And I don't fish plastic worm a whole lot anymore since I moved to Gulf Shores. I hope that kind of explains kind of what I've learned over the last few months about hooks. Smaller's not always better from what I've learned. No more circle hooks. I hope you guys learned something in this video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time.